Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's conversation, How Mohawk is Future-Proofing Its Digital Strategy with Headless Commerce. My name is Jason Hine with Bloomreach, and I'm joined here today by Ursula Grun and Bharath Badri from Mohawk, Ursula obviously from SAP. And Bloomreach is a digital experience platform that offers a variety of modules that our clients use to make discovery easier and more effective for their customers. We have a history of doing success in both B2B and B2C, and we were very excited to partner with Mohawk and SAP on this project. Ursula, why don't you take some time to introduce SAP?
Sure, thank you. So my name is Ursula Grün. I'm heading up the building materials industry globally for SAP. And I don't want to talk about all of these figures here. I don't want to do any number crunching. If you're interested, go to Subcom. You'll get all of that and even more than you want to know. But what I'd like to point out is really the amount of customers that we have. We have about 400,000 customers, and to my knowledge, more than 2/3 of that is in the manufacturing space. And the manufacturing space, I think, is really interesting when it comes to what is happening in the industry, in the change of a customer relationship. And if we go to the next slide, we talk about some of the trends that we from SAP really experienced in our customer base in the building materials industry. And also there, I don't want to talk about all of that. Tons of stuff available on Subcom page. But what I'd really like to point to is this change in the customer experience that we see as a global trend for the building materials industry. We see that building materials companies need to get closer to their customers and even to the end consumers. We see that tools like omni-channel commerce, retail-like experience, building information modeling that will bring together all of the players in a building project really form a challenge for this industry and force the companies to go into a strategy of delivering a superior customer experience. And I know that Mohawk is one of the companies that we see in this industry that really makes great progress in this, not only this area, to be honest. I mean, I personally see them as one of the trendsetters in this industry. So I'd like to hand over to Bharath and talk a bit about Mohawk and what actually is done in this project.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I lead the customer-facing applications and front-end architecture teams as part of Mohawk Information Services. My primary role is to frame the strategy, lead the architecture, and deliver any application that is used by our consumers, customers, sales, marketing, and customer service. Mohawk is the world's largest flooring company, offering a comprehensive selection of hard and soft surfaces for all residential and commercial spaces. We primarily are a B2B company, and some of our customers include big box retailers like Home Depot, Lowe's, and several tens of thousands of flooring retailers and distributors.
Great, that's important. So when you talk about your customers, I think that's important to clarify. You're not necessarily talking about the end users. When you talk about customers, are you referring to those channel partners that you're shipping the product through, like the distributors, the big box retail, or how? Is that what you mean by your customers?
Our first customer touch point is definitely the retailers. We also have a significant B2C presence, although we don't directly sell to our consumers.
Sure. You need to be able to speak to B2C because ultimately they're the ones who go to your distributors to buy, and obviously anything you can do to influence their preference helps your business.
Absolutely.
Great. Can you talk about how you have looked at online as part of your business? Because I think in the B2B space in particular, we see more and more that the manufacturers are having to really accelerate their awareness of e-commerce because it is becoming a bigger part of their business, whether it's working with online-only distributors, online-only channel partners, new entrants into the space. Can you talk about how Mohawk thinks about online as part of your business?
Definitely. Our major sales channels on the residential side are flooring retailers, home centers, and their .com channels, like you said, Jason, and builder, multifamily, and also the pure .com channels like Amazon and Wayfair. Online and what it means to our residential business segment. Today, we get about 1/3 of our orders coming through our B2B portal, so the revenue coming through our B2B portal, and with another 1/3 coming through EDI. Whereas when it comes to our commercial business, which is more industry specific and segmented, the online construct of it takes a significant direction towards product visualization and inspiration and personalization. That's the space that we play in when it comes to our commercial segment.
Great. Can I ask you a follow-up question on the you mentioned EDI, and I love talking about EDI because, I mean, when you really think about it, electronic commerce has been happening in B2B since, you know, the 70s, even earlier. And can you speak to how, has there been any impact on the business that you guys see being done through EDI as the web and kind of web-based e-commerce becomes more common? Is EDI kind of holding its own, or are you seeing that kind of shift away as well?
No, it's holding its own. For sure.
Okay.
We don't see an online website or a portal eating away at EDI. Our big box customers and our strategic partners still want to do business through EDI. So it's not yet been competitive at each other.
No cannibalization there yet.
Not yet.
Someday. You know, those EDI systems are fully amortized at this point. So why give up something that's free?
Pretty much.
And has proven to work, right?
Very true. Let's move on. Moving on to the next subject. You know, Bharath, can you talk us a little bit? So obviously, there's a lot of different ways to approach e-commerce, and I think this is one of the more interesting decisions that companies have to make. Is how do you want to structure it? There's a lot of talk about headless e-commerce in B2B. And can you just talk to us about how Mohawk went through that decision-making around what kind of technology we're going to use, what kind of approach are you going to use, and how you ended up selecting a headless strategy?
Mohawk is an organization with several businesses functioning as one global company. Each of these businesses have their own digital properties running on different tech stacks. So headless commerce actually solves us the problem of us still being dependent on a technical stack of the backend, for example, to provide a dynamic front-end experience for our consumers and customers. The second major problem that we constantly encounter is how to build for an omni-channel experience. Our business teams were required to spend enormous amounts of time just setting up content and campaigns and rules for each channel separately when the CMS was traditional. So headless commerce offered us a way out of all of these things. When it comes to selecting the right solution, the important things were, SAP is our CX partner. So we were looking for a solution that works well with SAP Commerce Cloud. And Bloomreach was right there on the top.
Well, we were happy to help. We love these kinds of challenges, and especially whether it's on the manufacturing side, the B2B distribution side. One of the things that I find is there's always something unique about either the products, the markets, the people that we're working with, the particular customers that they're selling to, that requires, it's very rare that an out-of-the-box solution is going to work in B2B. And so a big part of the decision-making, I feel like it needs to be how adaptable and how nimble can the technology be? And that's one of the things that I think headless is really useful with, is giving businesses that ability to be flexible in how they design, how they implement, how they execute, but most importantly, how they refine and optimize going forward, right? Because if you just, there's a certain amount of future proofing in the headless environment that comes in really handy. Would you say that is that something that you're seeing as you go through your program?
Certainly, it gives me flexibility to design the front-end experience in the language of my choice. And it also simplifies the organization that needs to support such a tech stack. Now, earlier, I used to have multiple different teams supporting all these different tech stacks. Now I have one front-end team working in Angular JS, figuring out all of these applications, PWAs, SPAs, whatever the channel needs, and one backend team that's focused on SAP Commerce Cloud development, primarily building services for the front-end experience to consume. So makes the team simplified, and there goes my reduction in SG&A.
Hey, there you go. So speaking of reducing SG&A, so I have a confession. Before I worked at Bloomreach, I was a consultant. And one of the things that we always had that would often become a challenge is, how do we build a business case for senior leadership? In B2B, where senior leadership is oftentimes, a lot of their background is in the more traditional models, they sometimes need help understanding, how is this technology, how is this solution, how is this approach really going to help, nail those bottom line metrics that the C-level cares about, right? Revenue, costs, customer satisfaction. How did you, as you were going through planning for this, how did you translate the benefits that you were going to see into a business case that would appeal to the C-level at Mohawk?
The business case for this was centered on two major points. One is definitely reduction in SG&A, like I mentioned, simplification of the IS organization to support all the front-end applications, was a direct headcount savings, not necessarily sending people home, but repurposing the staff where they're needed. And the second major savings came from the efficiency on the business side, where they didn't have to have the manpower and the consulting that they need to create content for multiple channels separately. So both of those things were hard SG&A savings that we were able to project to our leadership. The second business case that we had was a predictive modeling-based, data-driven projection on the top line increase in sales, especially for a residential business, primarily by the ability for us to get our products, the content, the campaigns quicker to market with a strategic personalization, not just a generic one.
Sure. So like in terms of, thinking about tactically, like making product launches happen faster, getting information in the hands of the people who are going to be looking for and researching product faster. One of the things that, we would sometimes struggle with when I was working with manufacturers before is the process of getting information about new product out there is hard. And it can sometimes create these situations where you have like a new product that launches, like a new parquet floor, a new tile, or a new industrial carpet. You go through all those costs to develop that new product, and then it takes you another 3 to 6 months to get all of your channels up to speed on it. That's 3 to 6 months of sales that you lose out on, right? So like there are very tangible benefits to getting a little bit more savvy on the e-commerce side, even if you're a manufacturer. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind. Let's move on to kind of the tactics of the project itself, and let's look at the next slide. And Ursula, why don't you walk through a little bit on exactly how this project worked, because I know there's some questions that you had here that you wanted to dig into.
I've been listening with a lot of fascination about all of the details, and what I'd really like to understand, Bharat, is where did you start in your projects, and what were your top priorities when you started it?
That's a good question. When we wanted to start the new headless-based architecture, Bloomreach, SAP Commerce Cloud-based architecture, we wanted to start with our consumer-facing brand sites. And we had three major objectives for the project. Number one, assist the consumer to understand the process of choosing flooring, which is still very complicated. The second is to inspire them with our product offerings and to locate the best choice for their flooring project. And third, for them to connect with the retailer of their choice who carries the product that they were interested in our websites. These were the three major goals for the experience, the consumer experience we wanted to build when it came to this new architecture.
So it is really a consumer focus that you had in mind with this project.
Yes, for the first project. We also have significant efforts underway to redesign and reframe our B2B experience as well.
So, and what would that approach be different between the B2B and the B2C? Where do you see the differences there?
When it comes to B2B, our strategy is entirely different. It has four major parts, each one of them focused on the different sales channels, the specialty flooring retailers, the home center customers, the pure play e-commerce retailers, and the builder multifamily. One strategy for each one of them, different strategies right there. Excuse me. For example, when it comes to our specialty retailers, we believe giving them a true 360-degree view of their business and connecting the consumers to them directly is going to be very transformative for the industry. Another example when it comes to B2C and how do you do things differently in B2B is personalization. I know that word is generally thrown around, but when you think about a B2B store, when a retailer comes through our B2B portal, in most cases, he or she knows what products they're going to order, right? There is no question of impressing them for conversion. So personalization in a B2B context will ideally focus on cross-sell and upsell activities, like what accessories should we display in front of them based on what products that they've already purchased. Another example is what kind of displays do we put in the retailer stores based on the geography they are located in and the competitive market that they are thriving in based on the consumer behavior of our websites, connecting the consumer experience with the B2B experience and providing the right displays and products in the store for the B2B customers to drive sales is a significant result of a personalization strategy in the B2B space. We sincerely...
So if I sum it up in my words, what I hear from you is that you really have the end consumer in mind with impressing them, with showing them capabilities that you guys have, with showing them the best solutions that they may think of, while at the same time supporting the retailers in having a smoothness and really nice experience for them as well, so that this is a whole flow that gives everybody the best experience in this, from the end consumer to the retailer to Mohawk. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. And we sincerely believe that such an experience is going to be digitally transformative for our business and also for our retailers. And we cease to be just a manufacturer and supplier, and we become a true partner for our retailers.
So I assume that you had more than having the process in mind, you also had to have some technical considerations when you took your decision to go for the Headless Commerce solution. Can you comment a bit on what you were considering there?
Three major things, right? So like I said before, ability to deploy the content through any sales channel and not having to sit and prepare content for every channel separately. The flexibility to design in a language of our choice and build a very laser-focused, single efficient team that is going to be facilitating the apps to get quick to market and getting that experience in front of our consumers and customers, like Jason said, within weeks rather than not months and months.
Interesting. So, I mean, we are glad that you've chosen Bloomreach and SAP as your partners. So we'd like to understand why us? What did we do better than the rest of the world?
Definitely. Like I said before, Mohawk and SAP are great partners, and our entire CX suite is based on SAP CX suite. And when we started looking for CMS, headless CMS solutions, Bloomreach was a very obvious choice because they have a very powerful GraphQL connector that connects directly Bloomreach to SAP Commerce Cloud. The second reason is the advanced search and personalization features that Bloomreach offers, and the connected consumer model that I just discussed before. We will not be able to achieve it without that advanced personalization and say search capabilities. And the third major reason definitely is the SPA packages, for B2C and B2B, they came in very handy. Bloomreach has all these SPA packages released in Angular, in React, JS based storefronts, now even in Vue.js storefronts. So we took that, we were able to quickly, configure it, transform it to our business process, and get our website quick to the market. So it was kind of pre-made. And when we started evaluating CMS solutions that will work with Commerce Cloud out of the box, these were some of the major considerations in picking Bloomreach, with SAP Commerce Cloud driving the whole commerce experience.
Cool. And I mean, one thing that, of course, everybody is probably at this stage of the world, let's put it that way, is having on top of their head is, I mean, COVID-19 has basically changed a lot of parts in our daily lives, in our business lives. And I was wondering, I mean, first of all, the timing of your project and COVID-19, did that now go hand in hand? Does it help you to really tackle the situation that has changed probably in some areas? Has it changed? Where has it changed? A lot of questions in one, I know, but I hope you get where I'm heading for.
Absolutely. The past year has definitely been very interesting. Like the rest of the world, the flooring buying process has significantly moved online, though not 100%. Flooring is still a big decision for many of our consumers and customers. So the touch and feel part of it will never be replaced. But the ease of getting a sample, the ability to view your product in your personal setting, all of these things influence the decision to buy greatly. And that trend has significantly accelerated since 2020. Further, what we were focusing on is to how do we understand our consumers' behavior online. And that has significantly improved and helped us to showcase our products better, and more importantly, lead the consumers to the right retailer for the purchase action.
Interesting. Jason, I have the feeling I have taken over the show. Maybe you have also some more questions that you'd like to ask to Bharat.
Yeah, are you thinking, so kind of continuing to follow the current trends, right? So as you start, obviously you had planning for 2021 that was going on. I assume that there's going to be, you're already thinking about, life post, once the implementation is complete and where you think you might like to go. Like, are there certain features or functionalities within the Mohawk site that, either in B2C or on the B2B side, that you are now considering options that you think you might be able to do now within the new with the new solution in place?
Definitely. Most of it is because most of the traffic has moved online. We are able to understand our consumers better, the behavior better, like I said before. And the strive is to get the true 360-degree view of your consumer and the customer, and connect the customer with the consumer. That has been an ongoing effort, and we have plans to advance in that particular area. And rest of it you should see in the website when it gets released.
I'm excited now. I'm not going to sleep tonight. Looking forward to seeing when the website launches. So
a cliffhanger, right? He's creating a
exactly,
cliffhanger here.
exactly. Tune in next week for the exciting launch of the new Mohawk Industries website. So looking at, you've been going through a lot, Bharath, and you've learned a lot. So as we think about tips for, for folks in your position, so basically when you think about the people who are now where you were, 12 months ago, if you could kind of go back and think about what are some of the pieces of advice that had you known at the beginning, you could have done things differently or faster or better?
I wouldn't take this as advice, but but these are the beliefs and understanding that we've incurred from the last year. I strongly still believe personalized experiences are very effective, both in a B2C and a B2B world. Done differently though. And we have to do that sustainably. We cannot rely on a supply of manpower to maintain and code these rules and expect these personalizations to work and be sustainable. We have to invest in tools and software like Bloomreach that continuously learn from the behavior and adjust the rules to make this personalization very effective. So I would still place my bet on personalized experiences for sure. The second thing is an ongoing effort, and like I said, to understand our customers and consumers and get a 360-degree view of them. That effort is still ongoing, and I definitely have my bets on that for sure. And last, the major thing that I would say is getting these experiences quickly in front of our consumers. And it is also important to keep the content fresh and dynamic through multiple channels.
Great. Yeah, I think it's the personalization point is really key, because when you think about personalization for B2B, what it means is that you learn more details about each of your customers. But the tricky thing about that in B2B is B2B have a lot of different customers who are very different from each other. And so when you have more customers, all of whom you have to remember more details about, to your point, when it comes to like hard coding rules, to do it really well means you need to add more and more details. And so there is a math problem here when it comes to manually coding rules.
Absolutely.
So personalization simply, in that way that it has been done till now, I think is going to be really challenged as the tools to take advantage of B2B scale personalization start to come out there and need those details. The systems that underlie them have to become a lot more powerful and automated to scale. That's a great point. Any final thoughts or points as we kind of wrap up the discussion here? Like we've had this really nice exchange. I feel like this is about as close as I've come to a happy hour with a bunch of work folks in a while. So like I mean, to me, Bharath, just hearing about that comment on personalization, I think was really crystallized a lot of what I've been thinking. Ursula, is there anything that you're taking away from the conversation today that you think you'd like to highlight?
For me, it is really another proof of, yes, this industry is changing when it comes to the customer experience and the customer relationship management. There is a huge change. It really moves away from a traditional, we ship it to the retailer, we don't care about what the end consumer is doing with it. And we never hear back from them, and we don't have any idea about what they are doing. So I really see this change here. And as an end consumer, I really love it to be seen by the producers. So I really look forward to what Mohawk is doing there, and to see also others in this industry moving. Great stuff, really.
Yeah. And as somebody who has 2 bedrooms worth of pretty old carpet down in my bedroom and in the basement that I'm going to need to replace here pretty soon, I am as I said, very excited about the new website to launch. It's going to be a lot of fun. The last big takeaway that I'll put out there, and then Bharath, I'd love to hear your final thoughts, is, what you are practicing right now is really the beginning of what I've historically referred to as the great share swap in B2B. The companies out there that get it, right, that move online, that figure out ways to differentiate themselves, that figure out ways to present and create an experience that works online, are the ones that, as buyers continue to shift demographically, where every single, I get a little frustrated sometimes reading articles that talk about the impact that the millennials are going to have, because guess what? The millennials are all they're in their mid-30s now. They've been at work for a long time. If you are worried about what millennials are going to do your industry, you're 10 years behind. It really is the Gen Z that's coming in now, that 18 to 25 years range, who has even higher expectations of digital and have less patience for places that don't do it well. So there's a huge opportunity right now for companies to make those moves, to take that leap, to make the investment, to raise the bar on their experience, so that as that next generation comes in and looks for something better, you're there ready to receive them.
Yes, that's absolutely what we're thinking as well, and that's where we are preparing ourselves. Like you said, we've just started this, so we're very excited to what the future beholds.
Excellent. All right. Well, I want to thank Ursula Gruen and Bharath Badri for joining us here today in this conversation. And obviously, we want to thank all of you who joined to listen in. Obviously, we're super excited to have you here today, and we're super excited about the future of B2B e-commerce. So thanks a lot, and we'll talk next time.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you,
Thank
Ursula.
you. It was a great discussion. Thank you.